Welcome, everyone, to our next installment of the New Normal in Government Contracting. Today, I am so lucky to have with me my very good friend, Arthur Tamayo, who's also the co-founder and CEO of Arillic, formerly known as Epion. Thanks for being with us, Arthur.
Thank you for having me, Courtney. This is fun. I'm liking this new normal setup you got going on here.
Thank my communications firm, Arillic. Arillic is actually an 8A certified marketing and communications firm that specializes in providing digital, multimedia services, communications, and data visualization for commercial and government contractors. So Arthur, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation today because we'll be able to talk a little bit about marketing, not only from the government contractor perspective, but sort of the juxtaposition of commercial marketing as well. So thanks again for being with us. Let's start off a little bit about sort of where we are in 2020. 2021 was full of a lot of changes from COVID. And I'm curious from your perspective, what you think the changes already and moving forward or further changes are going to be for 2022. And even more specifically for marketing in the GovCon sector?
Right. I mean, that's a terrific question. If we're, reflecting back from 2020 and, going into 2022 and beyond, I think the fact that we're on a live stream really sets the stage for how everything has changed, how everything is going to continue to be presented, meetings, live streams, or interviews like we're having right now. One big change is there is definitely people are getting tired of the virtual format, and that's the reality. I mean, I get that way sometimes too. I see events that are opening up, and my team and I are thinking, hey, should we go? This is going to be in person, but they also have like this hybrid version of it. And so I think there's going to be a maturing process where people maybe start off with the hybrid and start seeing more people congregate. And once they see, hey, everything's fine, we go back to having more of a kind of a homogenous mixture of people who really want to go in person. And honestly, a lot of people figured out virtual is for me. It's efficient. I can knock out, twice as many meetings, or honestly, I could have a little bit more time in between meetings where I can, get a glass of water, or I could literally just take a stroll, take my dog out. If you have a cat, give it a hug, which I know obviously you have Citrus. But I think moving forward, the adoption across the board has become, so uniform that it's almost secondary to want to hop on a quick virtual call. Most of, if not all of my meetings the last year and a half have been virtual, and we went from the tagline of all virtually meeting you to meeting you, and I think that's just a subtle shift in the socialization that this new virtual format has created for us when we do business and when we try to connect with one another.
Good point, because I'm itching also to sort of get out and see people again. But I am really, really loving the efficiency of not spending hours on the Beltway and being able to do more work and get more meetings in a day. And so I think it's going to be about the balance and deciding when a meeting, there are times that I feel an in-person meeting or a conference or something really are valuable and necessary. And I think what I have learned from COVID is to try to balance when to understand when that really is, so that you don't, shy away from it completely, but you're not, back to the point where you're becoming inefficient again. So I think you bring up some really good points. Additionally, recently we put up a blog post that you were kind enough to write for us on thought leadership. So start off, tell us a little bit about thought leadership for those in the audience that may not be familiar with it. What is it?
Yeah, so, kind of contextualizing this for government contracting, thought leadership is just really an element of content marketing. It's what content can you create, what resource can you provide, whether it's video, what's a blog. In government contracting, white papers are really big, slide decks are really big. Being a thought leader and being able to contextualize a topic, whether it's a new GWAC, whether it's a something in protest, whether it's a sole source that isn't going to be going the right way for small businesses. Being able to be a voice within the topic that your company, within the swim lane that your company is in, is so vital, because the reality is government contracting as an institution is dying for more content. This is a very ho hum and dry industry, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think it's very obvious between the institutions that are publishing videos like this new normal, posting blogs, going to leadership events and then writing about them and streaming them. People digest that, especially when we have a lack of face-to-face interaction. People want to know, hey, what are people thinking in my industry? What's on everyone's minds? And when they see that the article that you have is written, or the article that they're reading is in 2019, it's like, wow, you know, things kind of changed within the last couple of years. And right, so we're hitting on something really human about, kind of, when you talk about thought leadership with respect to just having content to digest. But really, in a nutshell, for government contractors, thought leadership is positioning either a person in your company within a concept or a topic that your company specializes in, giving real resources, solving real challenges that people might have, whether it's mental, whether it's something within the topic that you're talking about, like cyber, IT, again, marketing, products, anything of those natures. Um, and also connecting with your audiences is something that is what separates thought leadership from just being a content resource hub. I mean, there's a reason why people go to Wikipedia when they just want to know a fact, and then they follow individuals when they want to get attuned to a narrative. They want to follow a story, and I think really government contracting is ripe for storytellers to really flourish. And the brands that are becoming storytellers, the brands that are helping provide resources in whatever topic area that they specialize in, one, are attracting better strategic partners. Two, they're telling their audience, hey, this is what we're about and this is how we're different. And they're attracting and really manifesting the people that are their best audiences, their best customers at the end of the day. And three, most importantly, if you stick by, and this is a topic all on its own, if you go to any of these small business OSSABU outreach events and industry days, we know there's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people dying to get a one-to-one. So it's going to be really hard to distinguish yourself. And two, if you follow the script of going to an agency website, writing down their NICS codes, looking at their forecasts, and then following up, you're gonna check all those boxes, and you're gonna get to a point where it's like, gee, what else do I do? I'm just waiting on emails to be replied to. That's where
You know,
thought leadership can take that next step forward for you to gain that exposure.
misconception that government contractors don't need to participate in marketing and social media, that we respond to RFPs, that we do the kinds of things that you're talking about, and that there are not contracting officers on the other side or potential program managers that are looking at my website, that might be viewing some of this content. For whatever reason, I know our clients often feel that they don't need to be doing the kinds of things that we're talking about because, oh, government, purchasers don't pay attention to that sort of stuff. And I know, and that's not the case. I think COVID was a great opportunity for people to start personally connecting and do a little bit more storytelling and force people into doing some of these things that they may not have done before, and it's given them the opportunity to sort of understand that as well. If I haven't, and this, we've been in business for 25 years, and there was some period of time we weren't doing this, and so all of a sudden we were SMEs, right? We're subject matter experts, we know our stuff, we could have done all of these things, but we hadn't. Like, where do you start? How do you even begin to be a voice and have thought leadership if you're sort of starting from scratch?
I mean, right, that's kind of the chicken and the egg that every business, contracting, or business to commercial, business to consumer, business to business, ultimately, where we like to start is strategically understanding where your audiences are, what their pain points are, what their challenges are, because you're not trying to boil the ocean. Again, you're not trying to be Wikipedia. You're not trying to be everything to everyone. And so you start realizing, okay, I mean, ultimately, my company does three things really well. And we want to be known in those areas. And here are our audiences. And I think a big misconnect is understanding that what you sell and what audiences are wanting and needing might have some might have some overlap, but sometimes they're not aligned. And I think part of that is kind of a gut check for a lot of brands, saying, "Wow, we're a little out of touch, actually." And part of the mental block is that a lot of brands don't want to grasp the fact that competitors are actually hitting on certain pain points, hitting on certain keywords. Terminologies change even, and even though you're doing the same thing, somebody's calling it something different that the contracting office or the program office is calling it now. And if you're not showing up when you're, typing it in, or you're not saying that lingo, there's going to be a lot of disconnect. And even though you might create content, your company is going to continue to be left behind. So my best advice for companies who are looking to start out is, what do you do best? What do you want to be known for? And who are your audience? Who are your audiences? What are their main challenges? From there, if it's hard for you to, you know, think about, like, what's just three topics, or even just what's some one good topic that everyone always asks me, company X. What's the top question people always ask me? That's your place to start. And if you don't know, then you got to figure that out, right? And that's the true nature of what makes thought leadership successful, is because there's a huge human component to it. Sometimes, like, for example, for some industries like IT or even healthcare, some of the technologies and terminology that you use is so esoteric that people, all they want to know is, like, hey, what's new in, workers compensation, and how can I get my workers compensation a lot more efficiently. And you're not even talking about technology anymore. You're really talking about a challenge that your audience is dealing with. And so contextualizing that in a way that connects with them is that secret sauce to really unlocking a long-term value proposition for your company moving forward.
In the GovCon space as well, any particular tip that you may have for a GovCon versus a commercial company?
Yes, I mean, it's going to follow the same, strategic understanding of who are your audiences, and in GovCon, who are your agencies, what are the pain points, what are your competitors doing, what are they calling their blogs, what are they calling their services, and really reflecting on, can I contribute more content, more narration, something that really connects with a challenge that no one seems to be addressing. I know a lot of, our clients and a lot of our business colleagues always say, oh my gosh, like, we have this great technology, we have this great service, but no one knows about it. That's a problem. You're kind of, if anything, you did the hard part already by creating something awesome, but no one knows about it. And when you talk about thought leadership, that's your avenue to be able to describe what you do, describe the distinguishing factor about what it is that you're providing. And ultimately, and this is really the biggest advice I can give when it comes to content marketing and thought leadership, you have to do it consistently over time. No one likes, no one will go to your website and see a blog from 2018 and say, wow, man, like, Arthur is the GovCon marketing expert. And they're just like, wow, like, they want consistency over time. When we rebranded as Arillic, that's really one of the main factors as a marketing company. That's really one of the factors, is create more content, really publish content like this that helps people know that, hey, it's not just going to be one blog. It's not just going to be one social media post. It's going to be years of consistently putting your messaging out there. And
It's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work. Absolutely. But if you think about it, what are you doing in the meantime when you're not responding to RFIs, RFPs? There's a lot of downtime in a way. And before that next outreach event comes along where you can use your cap statement, there's a lot of downtime. And program managers, contracting officers, strategic partners, especially if you're a small business looking for a big prime company to partner with, this is a great way to jockey for position and be kind of that first in their list.
We are, entering the second half of 2022, and before we know it, we'll be in 2023. What should we keep in mind for the future in terms of marketing?
A lot of companies come to us and say, we don't have a lot in common with these big companies who do these rebrandings. But if you focus on your audience, what their challenges are, what their pain points are, and what you do and how you can help them, and publishing that consistently, you're going to find that a lot of that attention is going to start shifting towards your brand's way.
You've been able to help us over the years, and the things that you're saying make perfect sense, because the more content we put out, the more just organic inquiries we get, because they did a keyword search on Polaris, and we put out enough about it that it's very clear that we are, ahead of the game and understanding that procurement and can help. So I know that you've been able to help us. Tell us how the Arillic team can help another company do the same sorts of things.
Well, like I said, a lot of it comes down to also trust. Courtney, when you met myself and my team, it was 2017, right? And really, what our strength is working where our clients are at. Sometimes the temperament of a brand wants to publish a certain set of topics because it's relevant to them at that very moment. And so sometimes, working with someone who gets your brand, especially there's a lot of owner operated brands in government contracting, being able to first connect, both from a business perspective, kind of just understanding, okay, Arthur and his team knows where my company's going. That's where we start the relationship, because ultimately we're going to be able to start making recommendations that are organic to what Courtney and her team are kind of thinking of already. We're the marketing experts, so we know the elements that comprise a marketing thought leadership, a marketing campaign for government contracting. And so contextualizing that strategy to what makes sense for your team is the very first place we begin. And then from there, we talk about website redevelopment, which, we've done for you. We're talking about live streaming, which, goodness, took years to convince you, but, we're here. We are there. And you're doing
We
it.
are here on the thing, so you can't tell me that I didn't listen eventually.
Eventually, right? But there goes that trust, right? And part of it is understanding that when you're talking about content marketing, thought leadership is just a small element within that whole spectrum. There's other types of marketing, social media marketing, video marketing. There's so many, but the magic is contextualizing it with what makes sense for yourself, your team, your audiences, and your brand.
Tell us how we can get in touch with you so that we can learn more.
Sure, absolutely. So you'll see Courtney and her team were, kind enough to be able to provide our new company, Arillic, which we're very excited that once this video goes live, we will officially be Arillic. So for everyone who knows us as Epyon, when you type in our epyon.co address, you're going to be forwarded to arillic.com.
Thank you so much for all that you've done for global services. We will be celebrating our 25th year at the end of this year, and you're helping us do our new website in the next couple of months as well. So we're really looking forward to bringing that live later this year. And thank you for spending your time with me this morning. I think it's really important for government contractors to understand the importance of actually doing social media and thought leadership and digital presence, because as you said, people are searching, right? They're searching your company name, et cetera. And this is something that I think everyone really needs to get on top of, especially given where we are in the economy and trying to save dollars. Inflation is a real thing, and how we can reach more with less is going to be more and more important every day. I am going to give you the final thought of the day before we get out of here.
Courtney, thank you for having me at the new normal. For everyone who like this topic about thought leadership and content marketing and all things GovCon marketing, please feel free to reach out to me. Our email is www.arillic.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And Courtney, I look forward to also spending the next few months continuing our thought leadership campaign, and look forward to more speakers for this session.
To the end, thank you so much for spending your time with us today, and we look forward to seeing you next month on the new normal in government contracting. Have a great day, everyone.